So AI can be a really powerful tool, and there's loads of ways that it could be used as a student. So I'm going to share some of those with you today and also the pitfalls. But what you must do is you must make sure that you know what your university's policy is on AI. So most universities have those now, and it will tell you if you're allowed to use it or not. And if you are allowed to use it, how and when, and also how you reference that you're doing that. And you need to make sure that you know what that policy is, because if you don't follow the rules, then you may set yourself up for some big penalties. It may be that your work's not marked. It may be that you even face disciplinary action. So above all, make sure you know what the policy is for your university. Now, one of the ways that I might use AI as a student is to help summarize some of the content that I'm learning. So it might be that your lecturer has gone through some concepts with you, or you've read about them in a book, but you just are a little bit uncertain about them. So you might use AI to give you a summary of a particular concept. That might be really useful for you to check your understanding and to cement what it is that theory or concept is all about. Likewise, you might also do that for a particular journal article or chapter that you're reading. AI can be quite good at summarising those for you. But with both of those options, you need to make sure that AI is not your main learning platform. You shouldn't just go to it and ask it to summarize concepts and papers for you without actually reading about and learning about those yourself. Because AI can simplify it and it can also get it wrong. So you need to make sure that you're not just relying on it. Another way that it can be really useful is to help you brainstorm or mind map a particular topic that you're learning or that you're going to do an assignment on. It can give you lots of different ideas and information that can then spark your own thinking, and you can sort of pick through some different ideas. It might be a really good way to start off thinking about what you're going to put in an essay or a project or a report. But again, it can be oversimplified, it can be wrong. So don't just rely on that as your only source. It might just be a way of bringing lots of things together, which might be quite helpful. Another thing that it might be useful for is to help you to develop your academic skills. So it might be able to give you examples of things like different tones that you can write in, or different formats. So what does an essay look like? What does a report look like? And so on. It can do things like, how do I convert this first person sentence into a third person sentence? That could be really useful. But make sure that you're not using it to write and construct those pieces of work. Don't ask it to write you an essay on your topic. It needs to be your content, your skills, your learning that you're showing. But AI can give you some tips about how to develop your skills so that you can write more academically and so on. The same can be said for referencing. It can help you with understanding where references need to go, how they might be formatted. But again, you need to check that. Don't just rely on that, because it may be that you've got a very specific way of referencing on your course or at your university, and you must follow that. Something else it might be helpful for is to find some information about your topic. So it might be that you can ask it to list you some of the key theorists or academics or researchers in your field. You might be able to ask it to list some publications that are going to be relevant, or suggest some different journal articles or books for you. Now, I wouldn't just use that, I would still use the library, because again, AI may simplify it, may get it wrong, they may pick sources or people that aren't relevant and reliable. So you need to make sure that you're not just using AI for any of these things. You need to make sure that you are using all the other resources that are available for you. And finally, what I might use it for is to help to create some visuals or diagrams if I needed to include those in my work. So it might be that you can tell it various different things that you want to be put in a Venn diagram or a flowchart, and it might be able to produce that for you. It can also produce images. And that might be useful if you can't find the image that you want online, or your technical skills mean that you don't really know how to create a flowchart, or it would take you hours to do it. But you must check whether that's allowed, because it may be that you're being marked on things like the flowchart that you've designed. So if AI has designed it, that's probably not going to be allowed, because that's not showing your skills about how you designed a flowchart, for example. So with all of these things that I've described, you would need to check whether you're allowed to do these things. And you also need to make sure that you're remembering that AI is not your go-to source. It shouldn't be your only port of call. It's really useful for summarizing things. It's really useful for creating certain bits and pieces for you and teaching you various bits and pieces. But it can be oversimplified. It can be wrong. It can also make assumptions about things. It can include wrong references and so on. There are lots of different things that it can do that could actually mean the quality of your work is much lower. So, in summary, what you need to remember is check what your university's policy is and make sure you follow that. Make use of AI if you're allowed to, but do it in a way that is supporting and checking your understanding. Don't make it your only port of call. Make sure you're still using all of those other resources like your libraries, your books, your journal articles, your lecturers. And remember that AI is not foolproof. It's also evolving, so things change. So do make sure that you are up to date with those changes and also whether those changes have made any difference to your university policy as well. Now, there may be loads more that you use AI for, so put your suggestions in the comments below. But everybody reading the comments, do bear in mind that what people say in there might not be the ways that you're allowed to use it for your university study. I hope you found that useful. It's an evolving topic, so we may well do another video on it at some point in the future.